The aggregate cost of crime in the United States
Is it $1 billion?
$4.9 trillion. Just the year 2021. If you urinate on something, is that vandalizing?
Only if it stains, maybe?
I think we can agree if you're from Alaska or Canada, you're a serial killer. In the early 70s, America launched its war on drugs. California approved medical marijuana use in 96. Drunk drivers cause an average of almost 11,000 deaths per year in the United States. 4.9 per 100,000 people in the United States have killed someone, compared to 6.2 on the global average. If you are writing racist or sexist graffiti on school property or etching a swastika in a car, those are all bad things to not do. States have their own laws. There's one in Oklahoma I saw where you can't serve more than 2 drinks to the same person at the same time. From a number standpoint, white people are arrested most often, and I think that's just because there's more white people in America. You have the right to remain silent, and you also have the right to listen to me say welcome to my guest sidekick host, Trevin Bartee, co-host of the True Petty Crime podcast, Live, Laugh, Larceny. Trevin, how many petty crimes have you committed so far today?
Oh my god. So I just got a new job and they have this fancy ass coffee machine and it's got a touch screen and you push it and it has like cafe mocha, chocolate cappuccino, like crazy flavors you wouldn't expect an office to have, or at least I wouldn't have. So I was like, I finally got myself a coffee cup with a lid and I got really excited. Brought it over, pushed the button, and it had just gotten serviced. But I think there was still something kind of messed up with it because it actually, when it does the cafe mocha, it shoots like hot milk and then it like dispenses something and then shoots something else. And when it did the hot milk, the spout of just the milk, I think, was like twisted out kind of funny. So it just hit the lip of my coffee cup and then just shot everywhere. And so I left a pretty good little puddle of hot milk there. I wiped it once, but not very well, no.
Yeah, I also leave a little pile of hot milk everywhere I go, but I think in this case, so you're saying that was a petty crime that you committed?
Yeah, it was an office crime for sure.
This is great, because we're going to talk about crime and office crimes and all kinds of crimes today. Listeners, you might remember Trevin from his last appearance on the Tennis Podcast. It was episode 233, where he had me guess the top 10 most petty true crimes. Today, we're flipping the script because Trevin is going to guess my list today, but we're going to stay on brand, Trevin. If the listeners haven't gleaned from this conversation so far, you talk about petty crimes on your show. True petty crimes. Detail accuracy might vary, but the crimes themselves are true. These are crimes dealing with small offenses that aren't typically covered by your typical true crime podcast. That's what makes your show so unique. Everyone should listen to it. I'll give Trevin a minute to plug it later, but we're going to put your crime expertise to the test because today you're going to guess the top 10 most common reasons that Americans get arrested. This includes both petty but also more serious crimes.
I feel like I've been studying at least for the last 3 years just for this moment.
I've been preparing all my life for this moment, but I still feel unprepared.
Exactly.
That's like a good tattoo almost. Well, I think you're going to nail this 10 out of 10. No wrong guesses, all in correct order today. And anything less than that's going to be disappointment because, as you said, you've been preparing for this for 3 years. This data comes to us directly from the FBI and their Crime Data Explorer. The data is for the last 10 years ending in 2022. So basically the years 2013 through 2022. All of the United States is included. It includes total arrests during that period, with one caveat for whatever reason, traffic-related arrests are not included. And as we're going through this list today, I want you to keep count, maybe write on a little notepad near you or something. Look, Trevin's finding one. He's got it. I want you to keep track of how many of these everyday common crimes you have personally been arrested for. And then at the end, you'll let us know. My sources today, like I said, the FBI and their Crime Data Explorer. I also pulled some stuff from infotracer.com, findalaw.com, and of course, our friends at Wikipedia. How do you feel about being arrested?
I don't love it. It's not a pleasant experience, but I think it's also necessary. For some.
Your enemies and people you wish to get back at out of spite, you think it's appropriate?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
To have them arrested. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's like losing, like in a game. Somebody's got to do it. It's just never supposed to be me.
Especially in the United States. You're arrested for a crime. It doesn't necessarily mean you are guilty of the crime, right? You could be tried in a court of your peers, and you are either found guilty or not guilty, or maybe it doesn't even get to a trial. Maybe you just get a fine or whatever. There's all kinds of things that could happen once you get arrested. So today we're only focusing on that very first thing. You've been arrested for X. It doesn't matter what happens after that. It doesn't matter if you're convicted or guilty or innocent. All we care about is the arrest data. They were cuffed. They were brought into the station downtown. That's it. That's where it ends for us. So is there anything that you think is a safe bet to not be in the top 10?
I would hope murder is not in the top 10. Because you said this isn't petty. Or you said this was specifically petty, right? Or just all arrests?
All arrests.
Okay.
There are petty things included. So think. You are an American and you have been arrested. What's the most likely reason you've been arrested, basically? And again, this is the last 10 years ending in 2022. Crime has been recorded in the United States since its founding and has fluctuated significantly over time, with a sharp rise after the year 1900 and reaching a broad, bulging peak between the years. That was the
Did you write this?
It's Wikipedia, bro.
Oh, wow.
The bulging peak, again, I know all about leaving the hot milk. I know about some bulging peaks, too. But between the 1970s and the early 90s, that was kind of the height. That was the peak of crime in America. After 1992, crime rates have generally trended downwards each year. In the long term, violent crime in the U.S. has been in decline since colonial times. The homicide rate has been estimated to be over 30 per 100,000 people in the year 1700, year of our Lord, 1700. And it's dropped to 20 per 100,000 people by the year 1800, and now it's under 10 per 100,000 people by 1900, and it's only gone down since then. So crime's actually on the decline. Now, there's a lot of caveats there, Is that the way we've reported crime has changed? All those questions come up. Now, one of the many possible explanations for this is that the prison population has rapidly increased over the same time period. So even though crime, especially violent crime, has been on the decline in this country over the last few hundred years, at that same time, the incarceration rate has gone up. Maybe there's no more room in prisons for more arrests. And by the way, we have covered the top 10 countries with the highest prison rates on this show back on episode 185. Spoiler, the United States is by far number one.
I bet that's a feel-good episode.
It's great, yeah. The aggregate cost of crime in the United States, any guesses? Just off the top of your head. The cost of crime, so that's the cost of your police force arresting people, that's the cost of legal fees for crime, that's the cost of, vandalized property. If you combine all of it,
I can't even guess. It's going to be a number that seems unreal to me, I'm sure.
Over or under $200?
Oh, you're not saying as a whole?
No, I am saying as a whole.
Oh, over. I will lock in that guess on that one. I mean, it's probably is it in the billion? Is it a billion?
$4.9 trillion.
Okay.
In just the year 2021.
Good God, okay.
Almost $5 trillion per year, basically, to fight crime in this country. It's a huge industry. It's employing a lot of people. We love crime in America. And even though it's on the decline, we love throwing bitches in jail. So what do you think is in the top 10? Let's get to it. The top 10 reasons of any reason that an American is arrested for over the last 10 years.
So if I say drunk in public or just drunk?
Yeah. Are you drunk now?
I felt like it after trying to answer that. Yeah. So I'll say drunk, fighting, theft. Am I going too fast?
Pause. No, you're going too fast. All right. Let's do both of those. So let's start with drunk. Drunk fighting, Trevin says. Okay, drunkenness is what you're looking for, also known as public intoxication. That's number 7. Now, over the last 10 years, 2.5 million arrests have been made because of drunkenness. Now, drunkenness occurs, as Trevin well knows, I'm sure, when people are visibly drunk or under the influence of drugs. Laws exist to discourage people from disturbing others in public. They also give law enforcement a reason to remove people from public spaces who may be a threat to their own safety or the safety of others. Now, unlike a DUI offense, which may carry mandatory minimum penalties, public intoxication will often be a simple misdemeanor. Have you ever been arrested for drunkenness?
Yes, I have. And I've had plenty of drunkenness stories. I actually turned one of mine into a story once, but I was once not allowed into a bar because I was too drunk, and it was on the 4th of July. I had actually day drank, and I had blacked out in the middle of the day, and then I actually came to around like 9 p.m., and so that was as the party was just beginning. And when I had came to, I was in line to get into a bar, and I wasn't really sure how I had even gotten there. But by the time I got to the guy taking the IDs, he wouldn't let me in because he said I was too drunk. But in that moment, I was like, no, I'm not, because I'm alive now, but I don't remember how I was like, 10 seconds ago. So the guy wouldn't let me in, and I tried to argue with him, and I thought it would be really funny to have a disguise to get in. So I went and found some girls
That
who
is
had...
funny, to be fair.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like, it's hilarious, and I just thought this would be a funny story, even though I know it probably won't work. But on the off chance that it did work, it would make the story even better. It was 4th of July. There was a bunch of girls holding, like, Happy 4th of July signs. And we asked them, we said, hey, do you have any markers? It would be funny to draw a mustache on. I'm just going to, like, try to see if I can get in to this bar with a mustache drawn on my face. Because I just thought, maybe it'll just cheer him up and he'll still let me go in. Whatever.
Can you describe the gentleman in question? Is he like a bouncer type, or is he like just a everyday looking guy? Like, who are we talking about here?
I think he thought he was tough. Yeah, he wasn't very big. He was a kind of a shorter dude, but he definitely carried a very strong energy about him. And he was probably wearing a tap-out shirt.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, with the confidence he had, it had to have been good.
Yeah, all right. Well, now I understand the ass. I understand the size of the man. Now, please continue the story. You draw a mustache on your face. You walk up.
So I have all these girls draw the mustache on my face, which it's just like 3 drunk girls who just smear marker all over my face. It turns out that they use the blue marker for the 4th of July red, white, and blue. So I had a blue mustache on my face. And I tried to get in to the bar, and the guy stopped me again and said, if I didn't let you in earlier, why would I let you in with a blue mustache on your face?
You're just the same guy, but now worse. Like, things have gotten worse with the mustache, not better. For your sake, I wish the night had ended on a better note for you. But in his defense, I mean, he called it. Yeah, came with the blue mustache. It's a good one. It's a common one. 2.5 million Americans have been arrested for it over the last 10 years. I'm actually surprised it's not higher. I think you mentioned theft, right?
Yes.
Now, the name of your show is
Live, Laugh, Larceny.
Larceny. Larceny/theft. Do you think that's higher or lower on the list than drunkenness?
After seeing those numbers, I'm going to say it's higher.
It is for sure higher. It is number 4, is larceny/theft. 7.9 million arrests here. What is that, almost 3 or 4 times as much as number 7, drunkenness? So the FBI defines larceny theft as the unlawful taking, carrying, leading, or riding away of property from the possession or constructive possession of another. I like riding away. Now, I know that could mean like stealing a bike or a car, but I also love the idea of just like taking someone's tricycle and riding away. That's still theft. That's larceny.
Or stealing like a hockey stick and then like doing the horse thing.
Yeah, right. Or one of those stick horses that kid toys, like literally that.
Exactly,
that
yeah.
Ride away on that. A broom, ride away on it like a witch. There's all kinds of things. Examples are thefts of bicycles, thefts of motor vehicle parts and accessories, shoplifting, pocket picking, or the stealing of any property or article that is not taken by force and violence or by fraud. Now, the place where most attempts happen are from motor vehicles. So 27% of all larceny and theft in this country happens from someone stealing from a vehicle. So it's like people leaving their car unlocked. In a parking lot. Someone walks up, snatches something out. In 2017 alone, just the latest year I could find, the average value of property taken during a larceny theft was $1,007 per offense. So that means if you were to take up all the shit that's stolen from a larceny theft, the average value is $1,007 per offense. That's a lot.
That is a lot. I honestly was thinking less.
I was because like taking a candy bar, right? That's theft.
And like stealing stuff out of a car, I don't feel like, even if you stole a radio out of a car, I don't usually expect that to be, that much.
Does that even happen anymore? Is that a thing?
Now that I think about it, I don't really know if that is a thing.
Well, I know like back in our day when we were clanging and banging on the mean streets of Midwest United States, that was a thing where like people would get these custom car radios installed, right?
And you'd even get the ones that had the little thing where the face plate would come off and you could like have it in a little carrying case or hide it somewhere else in the car. So then if somebody wants to steal it, they would either have to go searching for the second piece or just expect that you have it.
Not so much a thing anymore. But yeah, so larceny theft, especially from motor vehicles, is number 4. It's possible that someone in their car has one of those horse stick toys in the car, and someone steals it from the car, rides away on it.
Ugh, I would cover that story.
Yeah, you would. And I don't even know if I'd be mad, because if someone were to break into my car and steal that horse, but then I saw them riding away on it and like put a cowboy hat on and like slapping the, whatever that, what do you call that when you like spank the horse to go faster? You know what I'm talking about? I know there's got to be a word for that, right?
Like, I want to say spank too, but I really don't know.
We are not advocates of spanking horses here.
Unless they ask for it.
Unless they ask for it. Unless they deserve it.
Yes.
Unless they had it coming. What else you got?
Okay, so I said fighting, but I guess I should just say assault.
Assault. Now, there's different kinds of assault.
I guess now that we're here, I'll say sexual assault.
Okay, good guess. That's not in the top 10, thankfully.
Oh, thank you, America.
It is on the rise, though. Did not crack the top 10. And I think part of that, look, not to get in the whole thing here, but rape and sexual assault, stations, all those things are underreported because a lot of people don't come forward, and a lot of people aren't caught in the act, so therefore they're not arrested. All kinds of reasons for that, unfortunately, but officially not in the top 10.
Well, that is great news. And why can I not think of the word?
No, wait, were you talking about sexual assault of the horse that you're spanking? Because I might need to double check if that's in the top 10.
Oh, well, you'd be seeing my face there then.
Now, assault. The word...
Oh, like simple assault?
Yeah, simple assault, aggravated assault. Let's do those. So let's do aggravated first. So if larceny theft is 4 and drunkenness is 7, then where is aggro assault?
I guess I'll say in the top 3?
5.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say it's really close to there, so 5, that makes sense, okay.
Yeah, look at him backpedaling.
I know I don't know shit, okay, I know that.
He knows a lot about spanking horses and petty crimes, but aggravated assault would not be considered a petty crime. That is typically a felony. It is a felony. Number 5 is aggravated assault, 3.1 million arrests over the last 10 years in the United States. Generally, assault occurs when someone causes or attempts to cause injury to someone else. In some circumstances, it may include threats of physical harm. One common definition is an intentional attempt using violence or force to injure or harm another person. One thing that people might get confused on is the difference between assault and battery. You hear those terms thrown around. Assault is sometimes defined as attempted battery because the main distinction between assault and battery is that no contact is necessary for an assault. Assault can occur when someone puts another person in reasonable apprehension of bodily harm. So that could be a threat of assault, a threat of, physical action. Battery requires actual contact to have happened. You get what I'm saying?
I totally get what you're saying. I'm just realizing how unsure I was before now.
I could say, as an example, Trevin, I'm going to spank the shit out of your horse, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you feel you or your horse has been threatened, that could be aggravated assault, even if I have yet to spank the horse, okay?
Ugh.
But if I do actually go forward with the action of spanking a horse, and for the record, I would never do that, ever. But if I were to do that, the horse has been spanked, that's now graduated from aggravated assault to battery.
Damn. Battery would not have even hit my guest list had we not had this conversation.
I do want to say one more thing on aggravated assault, that the use of a deadly weapon during an assault can elevate a criminal case from simple assault to aggravated assault. That could be like using a weapon like a gun, for example. Even if you threaten someone and don't actually use the weapon, that's still aggravated assault, and it is a felony.
Okay, so then simple assault is also on here, or is that not?
It is. Do you think that's a more or less common a reason to be arrested?
I would hope more common.
More common for sure. It's number 2. Now, aggravated assault at number 5 had 3.1 million arrests. Simple assault at number 2 has 8.8 million arrests, so almost 3 times as many. This is basically it's just the lower threshold here. An example of simple assault could be an individual threatening to punch someone in the face, even if they never carry out the threat. Shoving or slapping a person that results in bruising may also be charged as simple assault. Physical contact does not have to occur with simple assault. Charges in simple assault can include actions like slapping or shoving. It's usually a misdemeanor. I think the main difference between this and aggravated assault is that aggravated assault, the use of a deadly weapon during an assault can elevate a criminal case from simple assault to aggravated assault. So simple assault, I think, is mostly just using your hands or your body, where aggravated assault is like you're using a weapon of some kind.
I guess that makes sense, because some people can just kind of act out and throw their fists around, but if you're using a weapon, I would hope that you are not going full force with it, because you probably mean to really intend some damage.
Yeah. In the larceny example, I said I'd actually be almost not mad at someone for stealing from my car if I saw them riding away on their stick horse. But if they were to then use that stick horse for aggravated assault, it's a different story. I'm less inclined to forgive them in that case.
Yeah, you almost feel a little responsible at that point for letting that horse out into the world.
Yeah, you brought the weapon, this horse, the stick horse, that was then used to kill a man or sodomize him later. Before you guess another one, I have a few more fun facts for you about crime in general. In 2019, the state with the lowest violent crime in the country, you want to guess? Of all 50 states, which one has the lowest amount of violent crime?
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess Alaska?
Why do you say Alaska?
I would just figure it's not as populated.
Well, this is the rate, so it doesn't matter the population, right?
Okay.
It matters the percentage of whatever population there is that commits crimes. I'll give you another guess. I'll give you a chance to give a good guess this time.
Let's say up in somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. I'm just like trying to think of who's happy, and I went with like one of the most depressed places because I just can't think of anything.
They're not happy there.
No.
Let me save you, Trevin. It's actually Maine. Complete opposite side of the country, but that makes sense, right? Maine's kind of chill, although there's a lot of backwoods people there. I don't know. Maine seems like a nice, happy place where people will just want to be outside and they don't want to hurt each other as much. That's a rate of 115 per 100,000 people commit a violent crime. Now, the state with the highest rate is Alaska, the state you thought was the least.
Because it's got a lower population.
Well, I mean, that's one reason. It could also be that everyone in Alaska's crazy and violent, because in Alaska, 867 people per 100,000, over 8 times as many as Maine.
Wow.
Have committed a violent crime.
Yeah, maybe it's just a northern thing, because isn't Canada like really big for having serial killers and stuff?
Maybe. I mean, they've definitely had a few. I think we can agree if you're from Alaska or Canada, you're a serial killer. And we're going to talk about murder right now, because according to a 2013 report by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, that's where I got tripped up on drugs, between 2005 and 2012, so that's a 7 or 8 year period, the average homicide rate in the U.S. was 4.9 per 100,000 people, which is actually below the global average. So 4.9 per 100,000 people in the United States have killed someone, compared to 6.2 on the global average. So America has a lower global average for homicide. That's good, right? But when you compare the U.S. to only developed countries and not just the world at large, the U.S. has a much higher murder rate. And in fact, when you look at gun homicide rate, 18 times the average of developed countries in the United States. You're more likely to die from a gun than any other violent cause.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me too much. But hey, the context is important when you put it that way, because some people would really use that first one and say, see, it ain't so bad.
Yeah, it ain't so bad. Yeah, it's bad. Like, even right now as we're talking, listen, you can hear a mass shooting happen somewhere if you just listen close enough.
I chose not to go to the Chiefs parade, but I almost had went. I mean, I know it wasn't as big of a thing, but it's still just like, I do have a friend that went and was having a little bit of a hard time with it, and was like lives not too far from it. So it was just definitely, it's really weird when it's something close by like that.
You're talking about after the Super Bowl, the Chiefs had their celebration parade, right? Mm-hmm. That like thousands of people in Kansas City attended, and there was a shooting there. As we know, 1 in every 2 children in America are just carrying guns with them around. Weapon-related arrests. Do you think that made the top 10?
I almost want to say no.
Right. It's number 11.
Oh, you tried to trick me,
and you did not
win.
So that would be things like carrying a gun when you're not supposed to, possessing a gun when you don't have a permit, that sort of thing. That's the 11th most common reason, but not in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, these hands were made for carrying weapons and holding the Bible. So I'm not really... I can't imagine that there's going to be a lot of arrests for it, compared to other things.
The Bible. I just saw a news story, I just saw the headline, where a woman was accused of tearing pages out of a holy book. Not the Bible, but the Quran. And she was accused of that and arrested for it.
That's insane.
So maybe you could do some divine intervention here and pray to God for a guess.
I'm going to say is like being high in public, or is that still intoxicating?
It's intoxicated.
Okay.
Public intoxication.
How about drug selling? Drug dealing.
Drug dealing. I'm going to see your drug dealing and raise you one for drug abuse violations, which is a catch-all. So selling drugs, possessing drugs, those are drug abuse violations, and it's number what?
3.
1. Ooh. Number 1, drug abuse violations, 11.5 million arrests. The number 2 on this list, which is simple assault, had 8.8 million. So almost 3 million more arrests for drug abuse violations. Let's talk about it. In the early 70s, America launched its war on drugs. New drug laws and law enforcement efforts sought to control and limit the public possession and use of illegal substances. 50 years later, U.S. authorities arrest over 1 million people per year for drug offenses, but researchers find little correlation between imprisonment for drug crimes and the prevalence of drug abuse. Federal drug charges range from simple possession to illegal manufacture. I guess that's the other word, manufacturing drugs. Manufacture, distribution, and trafficking in controlled substances. Federal drug offenders face consequences that vary based on the amount and type of drug involved. Large amounts of Schedule I drug, other than marijuana, are likely to bring 10 or more years in federal prison. In a criminal case where someone dies or suffers serious harm, the penalties may go up to 20 years or even life in prison. California approved medical marijuana use in 1996. I didn't realize it went back so far.
That is so early.
I know. Since then, states have made major changes to laws prohibiting the possession or use of marijuana, also known as cannabis. Today, 24 states permit recreational use of marijuana for adults aged 21 and over. Kansas doesn't have recreational, right?
Kansas does
you're
not,
in Missouri.
But Missouri does.
Yeah, you're in Missouri, but we have medicinal use here.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of those little like Sasquatch dispensaries and stuff all over that state.
There are so many dispensaries here. It like really boomed here. It's like every other billboard in every other building is about a dispensary, which is crazy to see when it's like every other building is a church. So it's just weird. And there's lawmakers desperately trying to fight against medicinal use as well. So 24 states permit recreational use. 38 states, including Oklahoma, have legalized medical marijuana. But almost every state has also engaged in efforts to decriminalize simple possession of marijuana. They've often reduce penalties or change the offense to a non-reportable infraction. But in contrast, the federal government has not changed its treatment of marijuana. The drug remains in Schedule I under federal law where any possession is illegal. That's weird, right? I mean, I've never got that, how a state can be legal, but federally cannot. So
yeah, I don't understand it one bit. Would be interesting if somebody could do one of those, like, explain to me like I'm 5 kind of things. I would like that.
I wish I could help you, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm not about to take a swing and even try.
A breakdown for possession. So marijuana accounts for 4 million arrests out of 11 million total for drug-related. For sure, what is that? Not quite half, but on its way to half of all drug-related arrests are related to marijuana possession. Opium or cocaine or their derivatives, which are grouped together, 2 million arrests. Now, for selling drugs, what drug do you think is sold most often, or at least people are arrested for selling most often?
Meth.
Opium or cocaine or their derivatives. 574,000 arrests. Marijuana is number 3 on that list with 459,000. Now, as for incarceration, drug offenses account for the incarceration of about 1 in 5 people in U.S. prisons. For more on that, listen to that prison rate episode I mentioned earlier, episode 185. Trevin, I know before we hit record, you were telling me that you're for the severe punishment of anyone possessing any amount of marijuana. You're for life in prison for that, maybe even the death penalty.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I should go with my improv roots here or try to protect my image.
You can't do both. They are mutually
both
exclusive.
Have their merits. Yeah, you know how it goes. Sometimes you just gotta make a dollar here and there.
It's brutal that so many people are still in prison to this day, serving decades-long prison sentences for possessing a small amount of marijuana. I mean, I think we're slowly moving in the right direction as a country, but there's a lot of people still paying the price for a small mistake they may have made in the 90s or whatever.
It's crazy. Like, the more I educate myself and kind of learn about what I thought it was as a kid growing up in like rural Missouri to like how it really worked. It's crazy that It almost feels like you're uncovering a different world that you didn't even realize you were belonging to.
If one were to take marijuana and then get behind the wheel of a car, what would you call that?
I was going to ask if that was actually going to be my next question, if that, because you said no traffic offenses, so I was like, oh, does that mean DUI? And
I believe traffic offenses means like not paying your speeding ticket, and so you're arrested.
Okay, then I will definitely go with DUI or DWI.
Yeah, so give me a guess on placement.
Did we do 3 yet? We didn't do 3.
We have done 3.
I'll take a shot for 3 then.
Anything Americans love more than carrying guns around in the open, it's drinking and driving. Driving under the influence is number 3 with 8 million arrests over the last 10 years. It may go by other terms depending on where you live. It might be called driving while intoxicated, which is a DWI. Operating under the influence, which is OUI, or operating while intoxicated, OWI. I've never heard it called those last 2, but if your alcohol level is at or above the legal limit, you are intoxicated under the law. The officer and prosecution need no other proof of intoxication. Depending on your state, the legal limit is somewhere between 0.05% to 0.08%. What do you think your percentage was on the night that you drew a blue mustache on yourself?
Oh my God. 1.
1%.
Just full
100?
1. Yeah, 1.0.
How much can you have before you're dead?
I don't know. I should know this. I feel like when I was younger, it was probably something that we probably joked about and knew, but no, I don't know now.
But you are still with us, so you didn't reach it. Even if you have driven perfectly. I didn't realize this. I mean, it makes sense, but I never really thought about it. If you drive perfectly and you're not swerving, you're not veering into the other lane, you're drunk or intoxicated, whatever, but you're driving without incident. If for some reason you still get pulled over and you're intoxicated, then you still get arrested or can be arrested for that.
And
so
if you're in like a car wreck and if somebody runs into your car,
right,
you can get it too.
A first offense of driving under the influence may be classified as a misdemeanor. Commit the offense again or under circumstances that cause serious physical harm to another, and the offense may become a felony. Now, this was interesting. The states that had the driving under the influence as their top type of the arrest, or second most common type of arrest. So basically, if you were to look at a breakdown of the United States, each state has their own top 1 reason for arrests. And in those states where this was number 1, they're all rural states without mass transit options. Like New York and, places like that have a public transportation system, like the subway network, percentage-wise, have as many driving under the influence as somewhere like Oklahoma or Missouri, where your only option really is a car.
I mean, I never really thought of it like that. Makes me wonder if the rates went any lower here in Kansas City because we got a streetcar about, I don't even know, maybe like 8 years ago.
And at least places like Kansas City and Tulsa, where I live, there's Uber. Uber is like prevalent here, or Lyft, things like that. But if you're in rural Oklahoma or rural Missouri, those still might not be much of an option for you depending on where you are. So people just say, fuck it, I'll take my chances and I'll get behind the wheel. But you should not, because drunk drivers cause an average of almost 11,000 deaths per year in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why I don't talk about death and murder on my show. Yeah.
Would you rather be killed by a mass shooting or a drunk driver, Trevin?
Oh.
Don't answer that. It's okay.
That's a good question.
My point is that it's just too common, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, and you shouldn't have to answer that question,
No, exactly. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Alex Johns, and if you're anything like me, you need more. More what? Well, more Tinnish Podcast, of course. We all know Tinnish Podcast has well over 250 episodes, but there is actually way more than that. There are about 70 extra episodes of Tinnish Podcast available right now that can only be heard as a Tinnish Pod Plus member. These extra episodes cover everything from the top 10 highest grossing movies starring a cat, to the top 10 ways your house can kill you, to the top 10 most adorable Pokemon. There's also episodes that step away from list guessing completely, like when Nick and I covered the history of human sewage and sanitation, or when Nick and Brandon reacted to trending Urban Dictionary definitions. You can unlock instant access to all these bonus episodes, with more added every month, right now by joining Tinnish Pod Plus. It's easy. If you're listening to me on Apple Podcasts, just tap the Try Free button at the top of our page on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on any other podcasting app, then go to tinnishpod.com/plus. Signing up takes 10 seconds, and you can listen to these bonus episodes right on the very app you're already listening on. By the way, Tinnish Pod Plus membership includes other perks too. All episodes are ad-free, you get episodes early before anyone else, and you can even get Dr. Buster's exclusive podcast, The Book Buster. Go to tennispod.com/plus to learn more and sign up for a free 7-day trial. That's tennispod.com/PLUS.
Let's do a quick recap of where we stand. So far, you're missing 10, 9, and 8. 7 is drunkenness or public intox. You're missing 6. 5 is aggravated assault. 4 is larceny and theft. 3 is driving under the influence. 2 is simple assault. And number 1 is drug abuse violations, which includes possessing and selling drugs.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I think that's a good place for me to sneak in a quick plug here, because you might be on drugs if you have not signed up for Tennis Pod Plus yet, because you are going to be arrested by your own curiosity at our newest edition of The Book Buster. The Book Buster is our monthly mini podcast hosted by our own Dr. Buster. Each episode, he reviews a psychology or self-help book in 10 minutes or less. The latest episode features his quick and very dirty recommendation of the book The Status Game on Human Life and How to Play It by Will Storr. And I hope you'll listen to it. The Book Buster is available only for Tennis Pod Plus members. You can sign up now for free at tennispod.com/PLUS. where you could also sign up in just one tap within the Apple Podcast app. And Trevin, I don't even want to know if you're a member because I don't want to have my heart broken. I'll just assume you are.
That's a great way to... I just want to say it's a great way to take in a book, you know?
If you don't want to read the book and you don't want to listen to the book, then go listen to Buster's 10-minute review of it, and you get the whole thing. You don't have to read it. He can summarize the whole thing for you.
Yeah, I used to be big on Cliff Notes as a kid. Like, I would go to the stores and try to buy that. I mean, back before the internet was as big of a deal, you know, go buy Cliff Notes so you can go pass a test on Lord of the Rings or something.
Even between stealing car radios and buying Cliff Notes in a store, this is not a nostalgia 90s podcast, Trevin. We're trying to talk about why some sons and daughters of bitches... daughters of bitches, I don't know. It's just like, people always say sons of bitches, but where's the daughters come in?
Yeah, it doesn't ring well.
You can be a daughter of a bitch as well.
Yeah. Well, for feeling nostalgic, though, may I suggest trespassing?
Trespassing, no, but I like where your head is at. What is something young kids, like maybe yourself, might have gotten in trouble for?
Oh, breaking and entering.
That was not trespassing. Breaking and entering's another good guess. I'm looking for something a little more damaging.
Public urination.
We're looking for vandalism, sir.
Damn it. Oh, yeah.
If you urinate on something, is that vandalizing?
Only if it stains, maybe?
The cop is down there on his hands and knees, like, licking the urine spot to see. Yep, this is definitely acidic. It's going to stain. You're getting arrested for vandalism.
And then after probably drink more water.
After that, he continues to lick the urine spot clean. And the other cops are like, look, Harry, we got it. You already told us. And he's like, I'm going to finish this up. Vandalism is number 10, 1.5 million arrests over the last 10 years. Vandalism refers to the act of intentionally defacing, damaging, or destroying another person's property. This damage caused by acts of vandalism can be occurred in various forms. It can be through these examples: spray painting, egging someone's car or house. Now, for the less initiated, what is egging, Trevin?
Is
that where you go up to someone's house and you roll up tight with your knees to your chest and say, I'm an egg, I'm an egg, I'm an egg, until they come outside?
Yes, I wish that was it. No, it's just throwing eggs at houses, you know.
It's so fucking stupid. Like, what I said is stupid, but the reality of what it actually is, which is what you said, throwing an egg at someone's house, like, why are we doing that? Stupid.
Yeah, of all the things
don't get me wrong, I definitely did it, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know where we are as a society.
Yeah, like, if you're real cool, like, go watermelon a house or something, you know?
My friends and I used to take sardines, like canned sardines, because they're stinky, and you hide them up somewhere, like, over the eaves of someone's porch or something, to where, like, they can't find it, but they smell it.
Have you seen the movie Dirty Work with Norm Macdonald?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. So it's like a movie where he gets revenge on people, and he's so good at doing it that he does like a revenge for hire thing. It was around the same time as like Tommy Boy and a lot of the early Adam Sandler movies. And he does a thing like that where he hides fish in people's houses to like try to get them. And at one point he's hired to get revenge on somebody, and he does the fish trick. But while he's doing it, it's like a Yakuza hit or something. And in the other room, you just hear a bunch of like machine guns and people being murdered. And they're just sitting there and like holding these fish in the middle of the camera while all these like sound effects of murder are happening. It's a great movie. You should totally watch it.
I officially am going to watch that because I love Norm Macdonald too. Okay, so we've talked about egging someone's house, which is not squeezing yourself into an egg and yelling, I'm an egg, I'm an egg, I'm an egg, until they come outside. It's not that. But you can also vandalize by keying or scratching paint off of someone's car, breaking someone's windows, defacing public property with graffiti, slashing someone's tires, defacing park benches, altering or knocking down street signs, kicking and damaging someone's property with your hands or feet. Like, what are you doing? Like slapping someone's house over and over? Someone's horse. In GoldenEye for N64, I would always do slappers only, man. That's vandalism. You're vandalizing them.
Now you're aging us.
It's going to graduate to hate crime if your vandalism is on a church or synagogue, if you are writing racist or sexist graffiti on school property, or etching a swastika in a car. Those are all bad things to not do, because not only will you be arrested for vandalism, but also as a hate crime, which is much more serious.
Yes, and probably not in this top 10.
No, it's not.
Hell yeah.
You pro or anti-vandalism?
I think there are times in life where vandalism is not only like going to happen, but I think it's necessary sometimes.
I'm going to isolate that audio and send it to every potential employer for the rest of your life. Vandalism is necessary.
I mean, sometimes it doesn't really hurt anybody. You know,
Give us an example.
If you catch somebody cheating on you, you can draw a big dick on their door.
Okay, sure.
And I think that's totally okay.
Or you can hide in their car and squeeze yourself into an egg, and then when they sit in the car, you start yelling, I'm an egg, I'm an egg, I'm an egg, until they kill themselves. What I like to do on the show is I find something and I beat its ass into the ground until everyone's sick of hearing about it. You can expect to hear it many more times on this episode.
You beat its ass into the ground like that horse?
No, I would never. You just need 9, 8, and 6. What's a catch-all crime? Like a police officer might roll up and say, I got to get this guy in for something. What can I get him for?
Disturbing
the peace. Also, disorderly conduct is this kind of umbrella term. Is number what?
I'll go 6.
It's 6. You nailed it. And I think the egg thing, yelling I'm an egg over and over, that might actually fall here, right?
Yeah, I'm going to turn you in after this episode.
I'm an egg, I'm an egg, I'm an egg. 2.9 million people are arrested for shouting they're an egg and for disorderly conduct, also known as disturbing the peace. Disturbing the peace in some states represents a common public safety crime. Many types of obnoxious or unruly conduct may fall under these statutes and could result in criminal charges and possibly jail time. Like I said, criminal defense lawyers often call these catch-all crimes. Generally speaking, law enforcement officers may use a disorderly conduct charge to keep the peace when a person is behaving in a disruptive manner and presents some public danger. So sometimes they're disturbing the peace, they're yelling, I'm an egg, or whatever else they're doing. But sometimes it's also like a cop says, I need to remove this person from this area for whatever reason. They're being like a danger to themselves or others. So I'm going to arrest them for disorderly conduct. Some examples are they have intent to cause public inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm. They engage in fighting or threats of harm to a person or property. They make unreasonable noise. I'm an egg, I'm an egg, I'm an egg. Yes. Use offensive words, insults, taunts, coarse or obscene language, or a display that is likely to provoke a violent response. So if you're yelling I'm an egg enough times, it might make someone violent against you.
Yes.
And then you're both in trouble.
Would a noise complaint from a house be the same, you think?
Like a house party being broken up sort of thing?
Yeah, or is that what you mean? Somebody playing music, too loud.
Yeah, from a stolen car radio from Trevin's car in the 90s.
Yes.
We didn't have cars in the 90s. You weren't driving in the 90s, right?
No, I was not driving in the 90s.
Okay, no, me neither. I think that would be disturbing the peace, yeah. I was a young man in high school. Me and my friend Dr. Buster and Stephen Clark, who are sidekick hosts on this show sometimes, we got in trouble because one night there was like a semi-busy road. Not super busy, but, decent amount of traffic going through it. And between cars, we'd run out into the middle of the road and act like we were sprinkling like sharp things in the road, like broken glass, and we weren't, by the way. Our hands were empty, but we're moving our hands in such a way to make drivers feel like there's something in the road. Looking back, it was a very stupid thing to do. It could have caused a wreck or something. But
oh my gosh.
A cop did come and show up, and we were not arrested, but he threatened us with arrest for disorderly conduct. So that's my story.
That's a fun thing to do for like kids fucking with people. Like, it was always for us, at least for us in Kansas City, a lot of it was just like, oh, let's go to a store and just randomly inconvenience people trying to shop.
We did that too. But
that's a different one.
We took in one of those chickens that you squeak it and it makes like a really loud, obnoxious chicken sound. That's disorderly conduct. So now you just need 9 and 8. And you've kind of danced around both of these. So I'm not too far off from shit you've already said.
Lifeline me.
Drunkenness and driving under the influence. We've gotten both of those. What's another alcohol related? And this is a kind of a umbrella term. So kind of like the drug abuse one. Like a few things fall under this.
Oh, like drunk in public?
No, I'm going to give you this one. It's kind of hard. Liquor laws is number 8. You would have never said those words, I'm sure, but this includes things such as serving alcohol to a minor. Or buying alcohol for a minor. This is number 8, by the way, 1.9 million arrests over the last 10 years. This includes things like having an open container of alcohol in your car when you're driving. This includes any and all liquor laws. So, for example, states have their own laws. There's one in Oklahoma I saw where you can't serve more than 2 drinks to the same person at the same time. That's technically illegal. So, like, a server could not bring you a margarita and a beer and give it to the same person at the same time. Like, I'm sure that almost never gets in trouble for anyone, but, like, technically that's a law. In states like Alabama, liquor cannot be sold between midnight and noon on Sundays. So, like, just any of that shit, you combine it all up, it's number 8 for arrests.
Wow. I would have never guessed that would be in the top 10.
Me either. I'm guessing it doesn't break it out, so my guess is that a lot of this is like someone getting busted for buying a bunch of teenagers alcohol, something like that, you know?
Or like a whole party gets busted and somebody gets 300 counts of it.
Oh, can you imagine? Fuck, 300 counts.
I feel like child support, but just paying for a bunch of drunk teens for one night.
You know what I do? The cop comes and they try to arrest me and they say, stick out your hands, we're going to put these cuffs on you. I immediately drop it. I'm an egg. And they're going to have to physically pull my body apart to arrest me. And I'm yelling the whole time in the car too, when they're driving me to the station. I'm an egg. I'm an egg.
You can't crack this egg.
Now, you just need number 9. I think you actually mentioned this one in passing when we were talking about another one. It wasn't breaking and entering. It wasn't vandalism.
It wasn't trespassing.
But you might do some of those things in the process of number 9.
Breaking curfew?
It's burglary, sir.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, yeah, I guess I thought burglary would be larceny.
Host the Petty True Crime Podcast, everyone. Burglary is number 9, 1.6 million arrests. It's typically defined as an unlawful entry into a structure with the intent to commit a crime inside. Burglary is not limited to a home or business. It can include unlawful entry to almost any structure. Now, I read that you don't have to break in. It could be an unlocked house. If they don't have lawful entry rights to that home, even if it's unlocked, that's burglary. It's different from robbery, which involves the use of force or fear to obtain another person's property. So think about a bank heist. That's robbery. There's usually no victim present during a burglary. One of the most critical elements of a burglary is the offender's intent to commit a crime inside the building. Usually that's theft or petty theft. However, other crimes can also result in a burglary.
Wow. I don't know enough about burglars.
We today have burglarized our way into the hearts of our listeners. Although I guess they probably left the door open for us, right? They probably welcomed us in.
I would say they did. I think our 2 soothing voices can open people right up.
Well, between the hot milk and that, I don't know what you're getting at today, but I'm going to close out with, before I go back through the top 10, I want to read a few more kind of fun facts for you. Demographically, do you think males or females are arrested more in this country?
I want to say males.
Not even close. Males are arrested 4 times as often as females. And what do you think the age range that's arrested most often is?
18 to 24?
25 to 29 is the range of most arrested for both males and females, although it's 3 times as high for that age range in males. And for all ages, males have been arrested almost 61 million times compared to just 22 million for women. Men love to get arrested. Now, which ethnicity or race, however you want to say it, is arrested most often?
Obviously, I feel like I live in America, okay. So I'm gonna black.
I don't want to get you in trouble. I'll just say it's actually, I would have guessed that too, because we're always hearing that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's true percentage-wise. But from a number standpoint, white people are arrested most often. And I think that's just because there's more white people in America than any other kind of person. Males are arrested most often, 55 million arrests, but Black or African Americans are next with 22 million arrests. So let's go back through the top 10. I'm going to actually start at 15. You can see some of the shit that you did not hit. Robbery is 15, which apparently is different than burglary. We established that, right? Because burglary
doesn't have to be anything stolen.
Right. And robbery is also using fear or force to obtain another person's property. So that's 15. 14 is offenses against the family and children. I assume that includes things like domestic, incidents.
Yeah. I almost said like domestic abuse at one point, but then I wasn't sure. It's so hard with the wording. It's like what overlaps and what doesn't.
So that's 14. 13 is stolen property. 12 is fraud. 11 is weapons. That's like carrying a weapon, possessing a weapon. Let's get through the top 10 now. Vandalism at 10 with 1.5 million arrests. Number 9 is burglary. Number 8 is liquor laws. So that's such as buying alcohol for a minor. 7 is drunkenness or public intoxication. 6 is disorderly conduct, sometimes known as disturbing the peace. Number 5 is aggravated assault. Number 4 is larceny and theft. Number 3 is driving under the influence or driving while intoxicated. Number 2 is simple assault. Nothing simple about that. And number 1 is drug abuse violations. 11.5 million arrests for this one. Number 10 had 1.5 million. Number 1 has 11.5. So there it is. The top 10 reasons Americans love to get arrested. What do you think, Trevin?
A lot of it made sense, but yeah, you're right. This list proves just how much we love getting arrested.
80-something million arrests over the last 10 years in America. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's far too many.
But what's not too many is the number 2. And that's how many podcasters are sitting here talking to you right now. One of them is Tennis Podcast. The other is Live, Laugh, Larceny. Everyone should listen to it. Trevin, please tell them why.
Well, we take petty crime stories, whether it be a dumb criminal story or a story of just something petty between two people. We like a lot of retaliation stories, and we play them back in very audio documentary style with dramatic, moody music, reenactments, goofy voices, sound effects. And over the years, it's gotten bigger and crazier, and we just keep making these big mini movies based on dumb crimes that should not be given this much time, but we just like overdoing things.
It's really a unique podcast. There's nothing else I've come across like it because the subject matter, petty crimes, no one else is doing that really. So it's kind of, not that I've seen, so it's kind of an untapped market, but also the format of the show, just the way they're presented is so unique and fun. So kudos to you guys. I highly recommend the show, Live, Laugh, Larceny. There is a link in the show notes of this episode you're listening to where you can go listen to that podcast. It's available everywhere you listen to podcasts. And thanks for coming on today.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I love your show, and I really enjoy being on it. And yeah, I'm glad we made it happen.
Me too, and we'll do it again soon, I hope. To the listeners, my advice to you, don't commit any crimes. Don't spank a horse. I'm Nick. He is Trevin. Thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next week.